Ambassador William Carter adjusted his formal blue uniform as he walked down the long hallway to the council chamber. The massive space station, known as the Galactic Conclave, spun slowly around a neutron star. The station's crystal walls sparkled with strange light. William had visited this place many times over the last 15 years, but today felt different. His assistant, Samantha Wright, walked beside him. Her face showed worry that she tried to hide. "Something isn't right," she whispered. "Three council races canceled our meetings yesterday without giving reasons." William nodded slightly. He had noticed other strange things. The alien guards watched them more closely. Some diplomats who had been friendly now avoided eye contact. "Keep transmitting data packets back to Earth through the hidden channels," he said quietly, "and make sure our emergency protocols are ready." For 50 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Council. Earth had joined after alien ships arrived in the solar system. The aliens offered advanced technology and knowledge of the stars. Humans had been eager to join the community of 300 alien species. At first, everything seemed wonderful. Human colonies spread to 20 star systems. Earth became a paradise with new medicine and clean energy. Humans fought in the Council's wars and followed their complicated laws. They thought they were valued members of a peaceful galactic family. They were wrong. Inside the massive council chamber, representatives from all council races sat in rising circles around a central platform. William took his seat in the outer ring where newer members sat. He noticed empty seats where Earth's few allies usually sat. The Council High Minister Zix Vorex rose from the center platform. The tall, insect-like alien's voice echoed through the chamber using translation technology. "The emergency session will now begin," Zix Vorex announced. "We gather today to address a grave threat to galactic peace." William felt a chill. Emergency sessions were rare. The last one had authorized war against a violent species from another galaxy. "For 50 standard cycles, we have observed the human species," Zix Vorex continued. "We welcomed them as we welcome all promising young races. We guided them. We gave them knowledge. We offered them protection." The minister's compound eyes focused directly on William. "And how have they repaid this generosity? With dangerous ambition, with uncontrolled expansion, with technologies they should not possess." Murmurs spread through the chamber. William stood up. "I request permission to speak on behalf of Earth." "Denied," said Zix Vorex flatly. "The evidence phase has concluded already." William froze. "What evidence? There was no notification of any investigation." "The Security Council has monitored human activities for 20 cycles," replied the minister. "Your species has reached Level 4 innovations in weapons technology. Your population growth exceeds safety parameters. Your ships have been detected in forbidden sectors." William thought quickly. Level 4 innovations meant quantum manipulation technologies, something Earth scientists had indeed discovered recently. The forbidden sectors were likely the ancient ruins humans had been exploring. "We have broken no laws," William shouted. "We have the right to develop our own science. We have the right to explore." "The decision has already been made," said Zix Vorex. "This session is merely to formalize the vote." On the massive screens around the chamber, images appeared. Human ships, colony worlds, and technical diagrams of new human inventions. "The danger is clear," continued the minister. "The human species advances too quickly. They ask too many questions. They have discovered technologies that threaten the balance we have maintained for 50,000 years." William tried to interrupt, but his microphone had been deactivated. He looked around desperately at the representatives of other races. Most avoided his gaze. A few looked sad. None seemed surprised. "I call for a vote on implementation of Containment Protocol Omega for the human species," announced Zix Vorex. William paled. He knew what Containment Protocol Omega meant. Total elimination. The vote took less than a minute. The result appeared on all screens. 297 in favor, 0 against, 3 abstentions. The council had just voted to destroy humanity. William turned to run, but security forces already blocked the exits. Samantha caught his eye from across the room and tapped her wrist device twice. The emergency signal. She had been transmitting everything, As is tradition, said Zixvorex, the condemned species will be granted 12 hours before implementation begins. Ambassador Carter, you may return to your ship to inform your people. William was surprised. He had expected to be killed immediately. But the Council always followed their traditions and rules, even when committing genocide. As guards escorted William and Samantha to their ship, they passed representatives from the Talarian race, crystal beings who had abstained from the vote. One Talarian touched William's arm gently as he passed. Not all agree, the Talarian whispered. Some will help. Coordinates are in your system. Once aboard their ship, William and Samantha discovered that a small data packet had indeed been transmitted to their computer. It contained coordinates for a rendezvous point far outside Council space. Send the emergency alert to all human worlds, William ordered as their ship detached from the station. Activation code Phoenix. Across 20 human worlds, hidden preparations began. For years, a small group within human intelligence had suspected that the Council might someday turn against them. Project Ark had been developed in secret. Evacuation plans, hidden ships, and emergency protocols. As William's ship raced toward Earth using experimental engines that the Council didn't know humans possessed, he watched on the monitors as a massive Council fleet mobilized. Thousands of warships began moving toward human space. They think this will be easy, Samantha said, her voice steady despite her fear. They think we're just another young race they can wipe out. William nodded grimly. That's their mistake. We're not like the others. On Earth and all human colonies, sirens blared. People rushed to evacuation centers. Ships hidden in underground bases and asteroid facilities launched. The greatest exodus in human history began. The Council fleet would arrive expecting to find panicked, disorganized humans waiting to be slaughtered. Instead, they would find mostly empty worlds and a species that refused to die. Humanity was running for their lives. But they were not running blindly. They were running towards something the Council feared more than humans themselves. The truth about the galaxy's past, hidden in those forbidden ruins. The truth that would one day allow humanity to return and demand justice. Captain Olivia Martinez stood on the bridge of her ship, the Defiance. Through the main view screen, she watched as the last civilian transport ships jumped to safety. The colony of New Terra was almost empty now. They had managed to evacuate 80% of the population before the Council warships arrived. Council vessels entering the outer system, reported her second-in-command, Peter Collins. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel. 15 capital ships and at least 30 smaller vessels. Olivia nodded calmly, though her heart beat fast. Status of our stealth systems? Operating at 98%, Peter said. They shouldn't be able to detect us if we stay in the shadow of the moon. It had been 3 days since Ambassador Carter's warning had reached Earth and all human colonies. 3 days of desperate evacuation and preparation. The Council had expected panic and disorganization. Instead, they found that humans had been preparing for this possibility for years. All civilian ships away, reported the communications officer, Susan Lane. Colony defenses are automated and ready to delay the enemy. Olivia took a deep breath. Begin Operation Ghost. Tell all military ships to scatter according to plan. The human defense fleet didn't try to fight the much larger Council forces head-on. That would be suicide. Instead, they used technology that the Council didn't know humans possessed. Quantum phase shifting that made their ships practically invisible. The Defiance and 12 other warships slipped away from New Terra, just as the Council fleet began their bombardment. The automated defense systems on the surface fired back, not to win but to keep the Council forces busy while the last humans escaped. On Earth, the situation was more complex. Earth was home to 11 billion people. Even with years of secret preparation, evacuating everyone was impossible. Kyle Rogers, Director of Emergency Operations, worked from a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens around him showed the progress of the evacuation. Status report, he demanded, his voice rough from lack of sleep. 2 billion evacuated to outer system shelters, reported his assistant, John Garcia. 1 billion in deep underground shelters. The Council fleet will reach Earth in approximately 6 hours, Kyle closed his eyes briefly. 8 billion people still on the surface. Not enough time. Launch all the decoy ships, he ordered, and activate the scatter protocol for all evacuation vessels, maximum stealth, different routes for each group. The Council believed they knew where humans were. They thought humanity was limited to Earth and 20 official colonies. They didn't know about the hidden facilities throughout the solar system, the secret colonies established without the Council's knowledge, or the experimental ships with advanced drives. On Mars Colony, Dr. Grace Wilson packed the last of her research into secure containers. As Earth's leading expert on the ancient ruins found on Mars, her work was considered critical. The Council is afraid of what we found here, she told her research team as they prepared to evacuate. These ruins predate the Council itself. The technology is more advanced than anything the Council uses. The Mars ruins had been discovered 30 years earlier. The Council had ordered them sealed, claiming they contained dangerous knowledge. Humans had pretended to comply but had secretly continued their research. The star maps we found show regions of space the Council claims are empty. Grace continued, but they're not empty. They contain more ruins, maybe even surviving outposts of the civilization that came before the Council. Her assistant, Frank Peters, looked up from the equipment he was packing. Do you think that's why they turned on us? Because we found these maps? Grace nodded slowly. The Council has maintained power for 50,000 years by controlling knowledge and technology. We started asking too many questions. As Council ships approached Earth, William Carter's diplomatic vessel raced ahead, of them carrying vital information. The small ship used experimental engines that allowed it to travel faster than standard Council ships. We need to reach the rendezvous point, William told Samantha as they watched Earth grow smaller on their view screen. The coordinates the Tellarians gave us might be our only hope. Samantha looked troubled. Do you think the Tellarians are trustworthy? Why would they help us? They abstained from the vote, William said, and they've always been different from the other Council races. More curious, less aggressive. I think they've been waiting for a species like us. Back on Earth, the Council fleet arrived to find cities that seemed full of people, but were actually populated by advanced holograms and automated systems. When Council ground forces landed, they found empty buildings and false readings on their sensors. The Council Supreme Commander Zix Vorex watched with growing anger as reports came in from Earth and the human colonies. Most of the humans had somehow vanished before the Council forces arrived. How is this possible? Zix Vorex demanded of his advisors. Their technology should not be capable of this. One advisor, a reptilian scientist named Drek Thar, looked uncomfortable. We may have underestimated their advancement rate. Some of our projections suggested they could reach level 5 within 50 years, but the majority opinion was that it would take centuries. Zix Vorex's anger grew. Find them. Use the tracking beacons we placed in their communication networks. But the tracking beacons had been discovered years ago. Humans had kept them active but had built their secret operations around them. In deep space, far from any charted systems, the first human refugee ships began to gather. The site was a small, unremarkable star with several rocky planets. It was outside Council space in a region avoided due to unusual radiation patterns. Admiral Alan Rivera stood on the command deck of the Freedom, Earth's largest warship, as he watched the refugee ships arrive one by one. How many ships accounted for? He asked his tactical officer. Just over 3,000, sir, was the reply, with more arriving every hour, estimated 200 million people so far. Alan nodded, grimly. It was a small fraction of humanity, but more than he had dared hope would escape the initial Council attack. Begin establishing the settlement on Planet 3, he ordered, and maintain stealth protocols. The Council will be searching for us. The planet, which they had named Haven, was rocky and cold, but had a breathable atmosphere. Underground habitats were already being constructed by automated systems. As human ships scattered across unexplored regions of space, following the ancient star maps, the Council's carefully ordered galaxy began to change. The betrayal of humanity would mark the beginning of the end for the old order. Humanity was on the run, but they were not defeated. They carried with them knowledge the Council had tried to suppress for millennia. and they would return. 2 months after the Great Escape, the human settlement on Haven was taking shape. Underground cities were growing fast. Tunnels connected large chambers where people lived and worked. Automated construction machines worked day and night, following plans that had been ready for years. Admiral Alan Rivera walked through the main chamber of what they now called Haven City. People moved with purpose around him. Some looked scared, others angry, but most showed determination. "The radiation shield is fully operational," reported his chief engineer, Lisa Jones. She pointed to a display showing the protective field that surrounded the planet. "The radiation actually helps us. It interferes with Council scanners, making us harder to find." Alan nodded. "And our other settlements? Any contact?" 16 other colony groups have reported in using the quantum communication network, Lisa said. "All established and growing. Total population now estimated at just over 3 billion. It was a small fraction of humanity's original 11 billion, but far better than extinction. And there was hope that more had survived in hiding." In another section of Haven City, Dr. Natalie Parker stood in a large laboratory filled with strange equipment. The walls were covered with diagrams and alien symbols. A group of scientists worked on different projects around the room. "We've confirmed that the technology is compatible with our systems," Natalie told the group of leaders who had come to see her work. "The precursor artifacts we recovered from Mars and the other hidden colonies contain information beyond anything the Council possesses." William Carter, who had arrived at Haven 2 weeks earlier, stepped forward. "So the Council was right to fear what we found?" Natalie smiled. "Yes and no. They were right that these technologies could change the balance of power, but wrong about them being dangerous in the way they claimed." She activated a holographic display. Complex images filled the air showing star systems, energy patterns, and strange devices. "The precursors weren't destroyed as Council history claims," she explained. "According to these records, they chose to leave this plane of existence. They evolved beyond physical form, and they left behind tools for other species to potentially follow the same path." The room was silent as everyone took in this information. "The Council has been suppressing this knowledge for thousands of years," William said finally. "Keeping other species from advancing too far," Natalie nodded. "The elder races that control the Council want to maintain their power. They've eliminated any species that discovered too much, usually by making it look like an accident or natural disaster." Outside the underground city, on Haven's rocky surface, Captain Olivia Martinez supervised the construction of defense systems. Worker robots placed sensor arrays and weapon platforms in strategic locations. "Make sure the systems remain passive until activated," she instructed her team. "We don't want to emit any energy signatures that might be detected." Her second-in-command, Peter Collins, looked out at the barren landscape. "Do you think we're really safe here?" "The Council has vast resources." "For now," Olivia replied. "The radiation masks our presence, and we're far from their normal patrol routes. But eventually they'll find us. We need to be ready when they do." Back on Earth, the Council forces continued to search the ruins of human civilization. They had found some humans who hadn't escaped, mostly in remote areas. These survivors were captured for questioning. Council Commander Zix Vorex stood in what had once been the human headquarters in Geneva. The building was largely intact, though empty of people. Analysis of human communication records shows no indication of where they went, reported a Council intelligence officer. They must have used non-standard communication methods for their evacuation plans. Zix Vorex's anger was visible in the way his body tensed. "Expand the search. Check all nearby star systems. They cannot have gone far with their level of technology." But the Council forces had already searched 50 nearby star systems and found nothing. The human ships had used their quantum phase technology to travel without leaving the usual energy trails that ships created. On Haven, Kyle Rogers had established a new emergency operations center inside the largest underground chamber. Screens around him showed the status of all known human settlements and the positions of Council search fleets. "They're still searching in a standard pattern outward from Earth," he told the leadership council that had gathered. "But they're moving faster than we expected. I estimate we have 8 months before they begin searching this sector." Admiral Rivera leaned forward. "Are our stealth measures sufficient?" Dr. Parker answered. "The precursor technology we've adapted enhances our concealment. As long as we maintain strict energy discipline, they should pass right by us." Not everyone was confident in this plan. Some argued for moving further away, deeper into uncharted space. Others wanted to split their forces even more, spreading humanity so thinly that the council could never find them all. William Carter had a different view. Running forever isn't the answer. We need to find a way to stand against them. In the medical section of Haven City, Dr. Ben Mitchell worked with his team to adapt human biology to their new environment. The slightly higher radiation levels on Haven weren't immediately dangerous but could cause problems over time. "The genetic modifications are working well," he reported to the council. "Each generation will adapt better to these conditions. And the enhanced radiation resistance might prove useful if we ever face council weapons." 3 months after establishing Haven, the first children were born in the new colony. People celebrated these births as symbols of hope. Humanity wasn't just surviving, it was continuing. Admiral Rivera stood at a window overlooking the main cavern, watching people go about their daily lives. William Carter joined him there. "The council thinks they've won," William said quietly. "They believe they've eliminated a threat to their power." Alan nodded. "Their mistake was not finishing the job. They should have attacked without warning." "Their own rules prevented that," William replied. "Their traditions and protocols gave us the time we needed." "And now?" William's face showed determination. "Now we use what we've learned. We study the precursor technology. We prepare. And when we're ready, we show the council that humanity isn't so easy to destroy." In her laboratory, Dr. Parker made a breakthrough that would change everything. As she decoded more of the precursor database, she found information about weapons, defense systems that could neutralize council technology without destroying it. "They left these for the species that would come after them," she told her team, excitement in her voice. "Not to destroy but to defend. To give new species a chance to grow without interference." The path forward was becoming clear. Humanity wouldn't just hide and survive. They would rebuild, grow stronger, and one day return to reclaim their place among the stars. And when they did, the council would learn what happened when they betrayed the wrong species. 5 years passed since humanity's escape from the council's attack. The Haven system had transformed from a desperate refuge into a thriving center of human civilization. The underground cities now housed over 4 million people. Advanced factories produced everything the colony needed and more. Commander Jason Reeves prepared for the most important mission since the Exodus. He stood in a small room with his team of 6 highly trained operatives. "Our target is the Council Communications hub in the Centauri sector," he explained, pointing to a holographic map. "This will be our first major strike against Council infrastructure." The team had trained for this mission for months. Their ship, the Shadow, was built with the most advanced stealth technology humans had developed, enhanced with precursor systems. It could slip past Council sensors without detection. "Remember, we aren't there to destroy the hub," Jason continued. "Our goal is to insert the virus into their network. We want them to doubt their own systems, not know they're under attack." The virus was Dr. Parker's creation, based on precursor code. Once in the Council network, it would cause subtle malfunctions. Navigation systems would calculate wrong coordinates. Defense systems would occasionally identify friendly ships as hostile. Food production would experience unexplained failures. None of these failures would be catastrophic alone. But together, they would create doubt and fear throughout Council. Space Admiral Rivera entered the room. Everyone stood straighter. "This mission marks a turning point," the Admiral said. "For 5 years we've hidden and rebuilt. Now we begin to fight back." Across the Haven system, other teams prepared for similar missions. Some would target supply lines. Others would infiltrate communication networks. A few would make contact with potential allies among the Council races. While Commander Reeves prepared his team, William Carter worked on a different kind of mission. In a secure conference room, he met with representatives from 3 alien species who had secretly traveled to Haven. The crystalline Tellarians glittered in the room's light. The squat, furry Voloth shifted nervously. The enigmatic Kolari remained perfectly still, their smooth blue skin giving away no emotion. "The Council lied to all of us," William told them. "They've been controlling the development of younger species for thousands of years." He showed them the evidence that humans had gathered, historical records from the precursor database, intercepted Council communications, and data from human scientists. "The elder races fear any species that might one day challenge their power," William continued. "Today it's humans. Tomorrow it could be any of your peoples." The Tellarian representative spoke, their voice like chiming bells. "We have suspected this for centuries, but suspicion is not proof. What you show us changes everything." The Voloth were more cautious. "The Council has maintained peace for millennia. What guarantee do we have that humans would do better?" William nodded at the question. "No guarantees, only a choice. We don't seek to replace the Council with human rule. We want to create something new, an alliance of equals." The next day, Commander Reeves and his team departed on their mission. The shadow ship slipped away from Haven, its quantum drives leaving no trace in normal space. 2 weeks later, they reached the Centauri sector. The massive communications hub floated in space, a spider-like structure with dozens of extending arms. Council ships patrolled nearby. "Stealth systems at maximum," reported Sarah Wilson, the team's technical expert. "Were completely invisible to their sensors." The shadow moved slowly toward the hub, avoiding patrol routes. They docked at a rarely used maintenance port. The team wore armor designed to shield their human life signs. "Remember, no weapons unless absolutely necessary," Jason reminded them. "We're ghosts, not soldiers." Inside the hub, the team moved through maintenance tunnels, avoiding Council personnel. Sarah accessed a network terminal and uploaded the virus. It would spread slowly through the system, hiding within normal data flows. "Upload complete," she whispered. "Virus is dormant and will activate gradually over the next 3 months." The team returned to their ship without being detected and departed. The first major strike against the Council was complete, and the Council didn't even know it had happened. Back on Haven, Dr. Parker made another breakthrough. She had been working with a team to understand precursor communication technology. "We've confirmed that the precursors used quantum entanglement on a scale we never imagined," she explained to the Leadership Council. "They could communicate instantly across any distance without detection. This technology would allow human colonies to coordinate without the Council intercepting their messages. It would make the growing resistance much more effective." In Council space, the first effects of the virus began to appear. On the Central Council world, High Minister Zix Vorex received troubling reports. 3 supply ships failed to reach their destinations last month, reported a subordinate. "They arrived at incorrect coordinates. The navigation system showed no errors." Similar reports came from across Council space. Minor issues that slowly multiplied. Equipment failures increased by 12%. Communication errors rose by 8%. Council engineers found no evidence of tampering or attack. They began to suspect problems with their own technology. The Council had grown complacent over thousands of years of unchallenged rule. The elder races believed their technology was perfect. The idea that it might be failing troubled them deeply. As doubt spread through the Council, William Carter continued his diplomatic work. More representatives from younger Council races secretly visited Haven. The number of potential allies grew on the colony world of New Haven, which humans had established in a different star system. Lisa Martinez supervised the construction of the first precursor human hybrid ships. "The quantum phase drives are fully integrated," she told Admiral Rivera during his inspection visit. "These ships can travel 10 times faster than Council vessels and remain completely undetectable." The Admiral studied the sleek ships with approval. "How many can we produce?" "With the automated construction systems, 20 per month," Lisa replied. "We've already begun sending the plans to our other major colonies." 6 months after Commander Reeves's mission, The effects of the virus were impossible to ignore. Council space experienced unprecedented disruptions. Food shortages occurred on several worlds. Transport systems became unreliable. For the first time in thousands of years, member races began to question the Council's leadership. Ancient alliances showed signs of strain. The Council suspected human involvement, but had no proof. Their search fleets had found no trace of human settlements despite 5 years of searching. On Haven, the Leadership Council met to discuss their progress. Admiral Rivera, William Carter, Dr. Parker, and representatives from all major human settlements attended. Phase 1 has succeeded beyond our expectations, the Admiral reported. The Council is destabilizing from within. Their focus has shifted from finding us to solving their internal problems. William added, 8 Council races have now made secret contact with us. They're ready to break away when the time comes. Dr. Parker shared her news. The precursor, defense systems are ready for testing. If they work as we believe, they can neutralize Council weapons without destruction. The Council voted unanimously to proceed with Phase 2, selective contact with more potential allies, and limited direct action against Council military assets. Humanity was no longer just running. They were rebuilding, planning, and beginning to fight back. The Council had made a fatal mistake. They had failed to understand the species they tried to destroy. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity, but humanity would return stronger than before. 10 years after the betrayal, the map of power across the galaxy had changed dramatically. The once unified Galactic Council was now fractured. Several member species had broken away, forming separate alliances or declaring neutrality. Others fought among themselves over resources and territory. Grand Admiral Eric Daniels stood on the bridge of the Reckoning, humanity's new flagship. It was 3 times larger than any previous human ship. Its hull gleamed with a strange blue-silver metal, an alloy developed using precursor technology. All fleet elements report ready, Admiral, said his communications officer Jane Harris. 20,000 ships standing by at their jump points. Eric nodded. After years of preparation, the day had finally come. Humanity was ready to emerge. From hiding and confront the Council directly. Send the signal, he ordered. Operation Justice begins now. Across unexplored space, human ships activated their drives simultaneously. They appeared in 50 key Council systems at exactly the same moment. The technology that had once helped them escape now brought them back in force. In the Council Central System, alarms blared throughout the massive conclave station. Council forces scrambled to respond to the sudden appearance of hundreds of unknown ships. On the conclave station, Supreme War Commander Zix Vorex received the reports with growing horror. Impossible! How could they penetrate our defenses in such numbers? His tactical officer, visibly shaking, replied, The ships appeared, simultaneously in all sectors. Our defense systems are not responding correctly. Some weapons are shutting down without explanation. The precursor defense technology that Dr. Parker had discovered was working perfectly. It did not destroy Council weapons. It simply turned them off. On the main communication channel, a human face appeared on screens throughout Council space. William Carter, now considerably older but still serving as humanity's voice, addressed the galaxy. People of the Council worlds, this is William Carter speaking on behalf of the United Human Systems. 10 years ago, the Council leadership ordered the extinction of humanity without provocation. Today we return not for revenge but for justice. His words were broadcast in all Council languages. On hundreds of worlds, people stopped to listen. We have disabled your weapons systems temporarily. No harm will come to civilian populations. We seek only to remove the corrupt leadership that has manipulated all species for thousands of years. Council ships tried to respond but found their weapons inoperative. The human fleet moved with precision, securing key positions throughout. Council Space. Commander Jason Reeves led the team that boarded the conclave station. They moved swiftly through the corridors, disabling security systems with precursor devices. Council guards found their weapons useless. Jason and his team reached the central chamber, where the Council leaders had gathered. Supreme War Commander Zix Vorex stood with the other Elder Race representatives. You have violated council space, HFY X declared. This act of war will unite all species against you. Jason smiled slightly. I don't think so. Not when they learn the truth. At that moment, Dr. Natalie Parker activated the precursor device they had brought. A massive holographic display filled the chamber, visible to everyone present and broadcast across council space. The display showed historical records recovered from precursor archives. It revealed how the elder races had systematically manipulated younger species for millennia. They had hidden technologies, altered historical records, and eliminated any civilization that showed too much promise. For 50,000 years, you've presented yourselves as mentors and protectors. William Carter's voice explained as the evidence unfolded. In reality, you've been jailers, keeping other species from reaching their potential. The records showed dozens of species that had been destroyed when they discovered too much. Some through engineered natural disasters, others through orchestrated conflicts with neighboring species. Humanity was not your first target, William continued, but we will be your last. On world after world, the reaction was immediate. Younger species that had trusted the council now saw the truth. The fragile alliances that still supported the elder races began to collapse entirely. In a hidden chamber beneath the council meeting hall, Jason's team discovered something extraordinary. Living precursors. Not physical beings, but energy. Patterns stored in advanced computers, waiting for a species advanced enough to find them. The precursor consciousness communicated directly with Dr. Parker. We did not leave this galaxy to abandon it. We left to evolve beyond physical form. We have waited for a species with both the intelligence and compassion to follow us. This revelation spread quickly. The precursors had not been destroyed as council history claimed. They had transcended physical existence and left behind the tools for others to potentially follow the same path. Within days, the council's power structure had completely collapsed. The elder races, exposed and abandoned by their former allies, surrendered to the human-led coalition. William Carter addressed representatives from all species one final time from the council chamber. We do not seek to replace one dominant power with another. Instead, we propose a new alliance, one based on cooperation and mutual growth rather than control. His words resonated with species that had lived under council rule for generations. The council had offered stability through stagnation. Humanity offered something different: progress and self-determination. Dr. Parker presented the greatest gift to all species: access to the precursor archive. This knowledge belongs to all of us, she declared. No longer will technology be controlled by a few to maintain power over many. As the new alliance took shape, humanity found itself in an unexpected position. Not conquerors, not victims, but guides. Their combination of innovation, adaptability, and determination made them ideal intermediaries between vastly different forms of intelligence. Admiral Daniels stood with William Carter as they watched representatives from 100 species begin the process of creating a new galactic charter. Not how I expected this to end, Eric said quietly. When we started, I thought this would be about survival or revenge. William nodded. It became something more important, a chance to build something better than what came before, the precursor. Records had revealed a cycle repeated countless times across millions of years. Civilizations rising, reaching a certain point, then being controlled or destroyed by those who came before them. Humanity had broken that cycle. The stars that had witnessed humanity's desperate flight now watched their return, not as vengeful destroyers, but as architects of a new order. An order where knowledge was shared, not hoarded, and where each species could develop according to its own nature. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity, believing they were eliminating a threat. Instead, they had created the very force that would transform the galaxy forever. As the new alliance formed, the first joint scientific teams began to explore the path the precursors had taken. The journey beyond physical existence became a possibility for all species, not just a privileged few. Humanity had not just survived. They had changed the course of galactic history, and somewhere beyond conventional space, the precursor consciousness watched with satisfaction. Their long wait was over. The cycle of suppression was broken. The future they had envisioned could finally begin.